Awesome.
Wait,
Biography.
Copy?
I'm sorry, copy.
Biography. I'm so excited to talk about the person that I'm going to talk. It's awesome to always see one thing that we all glorify. It's the name of Jesus Christ. It's biographical or topical or anyone. The ultimate message was always the redemption work of God. And today, when I talk about a person, that person is always doubted and always misunderstood. If someone can actually read this Greek words, how many of them actually know Greek?
Pistos.
It's apistos Thomas. That's the word that most of them understand as doubting Thomas. When NIV puts across when they translate the word. But actually what it means is pistos means faith and apistos means faithless Thomas. But there's a difference. When you change the word, the NIV uses a dynamic way of translation. The entire meaning itself is lost. And just by one instance, we often take the person as a negative influence. I'm so grateful that I can talk about Thomas in front of Thomas itself. Thomas, one of the important, why I took Thomas is the apostle who actually influenced India. And today when I come from India, I understand the religious sentiments that goes in India. It's not like how it's in US, you say Christianity, everyone understands. You talk about Buddhism, Buddhist people are there. You talk about Christianity, people are there. You talk about Hinduism, a lot of Hinduism people are there. That it was a very pantheistic culture. But when Thomas goes in, he goes in as a person and he does not understand the culture. Like Brother Wayne said, so much of understanding of culture is necessary when you actually go to these Asian countries, because most I see when I see within my country itself, I see more than thousands of cultures being there every single state. But Thomas, I want to say, when we all say that he's a doubting person, do we actually see who he really was? Thomas, when first time when he actually talks, he talks from the passage that is John chapter 11 verse 16, and he says, "Let us also go, and we may die with him." The context is when disciples were actually saying, when they're actually talking among themselves, no, we're not going to go because Jesus is going to get stoned. But Jesus wanted to go to Lazarus. That's the first time Thomas is actually talking. And what he said, that let us go even though we might die. The first thing I want to bring up to you, he was a courageous man. We oftentimes think that he is a doubting person, but look at the courage that he has. He knew that he is going to die, or the people are going to stone the disciples and Jesus, but he still took that effort. And when I say courageous, means I want to define courage. Courage is as mental or moral strength or venture that withstands danger, fear, or difficulty. Thomas was convinced that whatsoever that he will follow Jesus. The conviction that he had, the way that he walked was so important, and it was the relationship that he had was really good. And that is the relationship that we should have. When we look into the life of Thomas, we see that that's the person that I want to become like. But we often see these two words put along and we say the classic name Doubting Thomas. And I want to say that courage makes the person stand up and say, I want to follow this person. In India, when I come from India, you need courage to actually stand up and say I'm Christian, because there's a lot of persecution every single way, political persecution, there's persecution every single way. But courage, what Thomas showed, if we look into the Bible and we see one passage that says where does the Bible say that Jesus is God? It's the words of Thomas, my Lord, my God. But we often say, doubting Thomas. The greatest word from the Bible, my Lord and my God, is from Thomas. The courage that he showed, the courage that he had, is what made him to go to India. And millions of people. He was a light to millions of people there. And that is where I want to say the second words that he speaks. When Thomas was not a person, he wanted to be concrete in his ways of understanding. Like how Thomas said, he does not just listen and understand, but he wants to see, he also wants to experience and know. I'm not just going in a wrong way, but I am going in a strong path that is right and correct. And there he says, Lord, we do not know where we're going, so how can we know the way? Thomas is not clear about what Jesus is saying. But Thomas speaks in this passage, and you find out he was curious. He was curious in a way that the curiosity actually helped him when he went to India. When you are curious, when as an academic person, when you are curious, you understand, the more curious you are, the more you learn. The more curious you are, the more detail you get into. If you're not curious, it's very difficult to actually have an intrinsic motivation. He was a curious man, and his curiosity helped him to actually, when you go to India, you understand there's a denomination in Christianity that's called the Marthoma. And that Marthoma tradition actually just believes what Thomas actually laid down and what Thomas actually taught. And that's the influence that Thomas had in people's life. And when we see that he was curious and he approached people like a childlike habit. When he saw, he believed. And that was Thomas. And the third point that I wanted to talk about is he was faithful to the call. When you look into the life of Thomas cried, and when the disciple agreed on where to go, which place to go, Thomas said, I'm not going to go to India. India is not the place that I want to be. But God encountered, Jesus Christ again comes to him. And he has an encounter with Jesus Christ. And Jesus says, I'm going to be with you. And today I am testifying, when I talk about Thomas, it is because of his hard work. One preacher said like this, it's easy to count the seeds in an apple, but cannot count the number of apples that comes out of the seed. Thomas's obedience, Thomas's call, the faithfulness to his call is what I am standing here and preaching the gospel. He was faithful to the call until death. When we look into the life of Thomas, he was martyred in Chennai, present Chennai or Madras, most people know. He actually was a light, like a candle, like Luke chapter 8 verses 16 and 17 says, no one lights a lamp and heads in a clay jar and puts it under a bed. Instead, he puts it on a stand so that those who come can see the light. For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, or nothing concealed that will not be known and brought out into the open. Thomas, when he had the encounter with Jesus Christ, he was faithful to the call of God. When he was faithful to the call of God, he was like a candle that was kept on a stand. And that light, what he had, it was on the stand, give the light to everyone. And that light, let us all be that light. Let us have curiosity, let us have courage, and let us have faithfulness to the call of God. And we will be just like Thomas, and not a doubting Thomas, but a courageous Thomas. Amen.